Hello, people of VibeCheck. It's been a minute. Yep. I'm just here to deliver a short message. One, very exciting news. We've moved on to Apple Music and Spotify too. So check us out there at VibeCheck and at Plays Playlist. Also, sadder news. This is our last episode of the first season. It's with a brilliant person, Lawrence. So make sure to follow him and check him out and his pages as well. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's been supporting us. Thank you to everyone that's come onto the show. So much love, appreciation. Just want to say thank you. We mean that from the bottom of our hearts. It's been exciting. It's just dope. We've got a lot more in store for you on next season. So I'm just going to keep it hush from there, innit? But yeah, peace out. Welcome back to VibeCheck, where we check the vibe of theatre makers through the use of music. I'm here today with Ben Kwashe.
Hey,
Ooh.
we're also here today with my soon-to-be housemate, Kaisho.
Come on. And of course, I'm joined by, you already know who it is. It's Aruna Jallo, the guy that's going to soon to be, constantly sleeping around our house as well. So it's all good, man. Vibes all around.
It's what it is, isn't it? But we have a very special guest for you here today. Actor, writer, and has a brilliant smile. Lawrence!
Hey, Mr. Colgate himself, Mr. Colgate himself. How are you, man? What's happening?
I'm good. Oh my gosh. No, I'm good. A lot's been happening. Emotional turmoil. But we
Oh God.
get into it. No, it's not that bad. I'm dramatic. Just a lot of I guess understanding really. Just found myself in certain situations and I'm like, oh, okay. This is how it's gonna play out. Fair enough. What have I learned? Sort of thing, and just minute situations. So kind of, it's been a good week.
Okay.
Touchy, yeah.
Good. It's one of them ones where you're cutting off the dead weight in a way, like cutting off them people that you don't need.
Yeah. I don't know how you figured that out, but yeah.
When you said kind of weight, I thought you meant like gym. I was like,
No.
It's a random thing to jump to.
If it's to go gym less, it's Lawrence.
No, that too. But actually, no, I feel like you'd only need that because we had a conversation about it. But
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Behind the scenes.
Stage.
How are you guys?
All right,
Good.
I'm all right. Yeah.
Living life. I think that's the best way I could put it, really.
Literally.
Going through the motions.
Literally. Just taking it as it comes.
It's nice. It's paying, but the wind is mad today. Can we quickly talk about the wind because people have been blown, bins are levitating. It's all a bit mad. Like,
You sound traumatized. Are you right?
Bins are levitating.
You see some shit. I'm finished. Alright, cool, man. Well, it's good to have you as always. It's good to have you on the show. So, as always, we always ask our guests to send us the song they most recently listened to, and yours was "No Remorse" by Kai Cash.
Yes.
Which is a banger because I can't remember what the sample is called, but it's a quite well known reggae tune, and it bangs.
Okay.
It bangs. So I was gassed when I heard this. So yeah, man. Where did you find this tune? Who is this, and where did you find it?
I've not checked his like discovery or anything like that. It's just something. It was a new release track on the music app that I use, and I just played it, and I was like, oh, this resonates. This resonates. It was as simple as that, and it just kept, I kept repeating it every night. You just wake up in the morning for, you're about to shower. Like, okay, cool, what song am I going to start with? Do you know what? I've been feeling this one a lot recently. and start with that one. And just every time I play it over and over and over again, I'm like, ooh. I couldn't ever stay at home. I also love that song. I've been listening to that as well.
Don't worry. That was an accident.
Technical difficulties.
We'll get to that one.
But, yeah, it was just a random find on Tidal, and yeah, I kind of enjoyed it.
Oh, you're a Tidal man.
Tidal user. So this is
interesting.
Yeah.
No, we're not. No. Listen. Oh, well done. He saved it. Fair enough. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Are you paying for the hi-fi sound? Or are you paying for the regular membership?
Well, I was paying for. I'm paying for the regular membership. Let me answer the question.
Okay.
Listen, man, I was on hi-fi for a bit still. Like when you have the fancy headphones, yeah.
I tried it. I was like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, like, you have good headphones and everything. It's great. You can really hear the difference. But 100%. Is it £20 worth of difference?
No,
not really.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Any decent pair of headphones does the trick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you know, hey, props to Jay-Z. He's making money. Anyway. So this brings us into what we like to call the song selection section. This is where we send our guests a list of questions and they get to answer 3 of those questions with songs. So the first song that you sent us was Everything That Isn't Me by Lucas Graham.
Yes.
So this was a very tricky song, but I want to say that this is a song that has helped you creatively.
I'm saying it's a song that relates to how you first went to theatre.
Ooh, I got the same one, Ben.
And the answer is...
one second, so let me just remember what I wrote down. Let me just get it up. Everything that what was it? A song that describes my career.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Now it's fun. What? How? Go on.
Right. So, you know, I think me and Aruna, we talk quite often about, well, not quite often, but every now and then there's a conversation about progression, and essentially understanding that this is it's a natural thing. Each day will essentially be different. Of course, you will have your core values and all of these different things, but there are certain things that you know that you can't essentially change, but you struggle to accept that. And for example, for me, I'm not exactly in the field or in the in the industry per se, but I've had my go in it. I've stopped my toe in the basement every now and then. I'm like, don't like it. I'm gonna stick my toe back out. And you know, we have our reasons. And there's one thing that I'm sure me and Aruna talked about, is the depiction of the ends in art in general. And it's always this feeling of just, this isn't what it really is. There is no sense of exploration of, you know, the truths in ends. For example, it's just very, this is this is that. And again, I feel like I'm veering off, but with how it relates to my career, it's knowing that I feel like I have a story that I want to tell, and it's not only my story, it's a story, it's a collective story. And it's this doubt that we have with expressing that, and those reasons, like for example in the song Everything That Isn't, the Lucas Graham song, it's, for me, you sort of have to accept that, okay, this is who I am at the end of the day, essentially, and where I am right now, I can no longer apologize for that. And as much as I want to be in the industry, as much as I want to do certain things, as much as I want to create this amazing, you know, world and blah, 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 all of this stuff, I know right now I'm not there. And I have to be like, okay, that's perfectly okay. And again, you know, the topic of the song is totally different to my meaning of it, but that's just how I feel towards it. And also, I just love Lucas Graham.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Especially that you love Lucas Graham. So this is going to veer off. It's very serious. Like, I want to delve more into what you're speaking about, but I did not like this song. I'm just gonna jump on you like that. Listen,
Fair
when,
enough, fair enough.
you know what? Because I was listening to it when I was doing other stuff today, and at first I thought you sent a song from the Hamilton soundtrack. I was like, that's a bold move. Didn't expect that from Lawrence. It's not from the Hamilton soundtrack because it sounds like something that what's his face? Eliza. What's his name? Lin-Manuel Miranda. Who?
I have no clue who that is.
Yeah, that's fine.
I guess I don't want to know.
He's the person that like wrote and did part of the music for Hamilton, the musical,
Right.
the original one, and then performed in it, which I recently watched on Disney Plus, and was very shocked at how not great his performance was in an ensemble of 20 plus people. But there's that one performance. He's got a song. I don't know even the song. I assume the song's called Eliza, and it really stands out the disparity between him and the other cast vocally, and that's who I thought this song. That's what I thought this song was. It's not great. So I mean,
Oh my god.
Lucas, he might have other songs that I'm gonna have to check out. I can tell you it's not this one.
Man said you might have other songs.
It's a group. It's a group.
Is it a group? So there's multiple of them that have allowed that to happen. That's interesting.
It's one man singing, but it's a group. I'm sure you've heard their songs before. That's how I even got into listening to them. You've heard of 7 Years, right? Once I was 7 years. Right, okay. That song I kept playing over and over again.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, one day I just thought, you know what? Let me actually just listen to this. And then I checked out his album. I was like, ooh, checked out his other work. I was like, ooh.
All right, fair.
So yeah, maybe get in a different mood, man.
Yeah,
right?
just not this one. Hey, look, man, I was shocked that it was Hamilton. It wasn't Hamilton, but it was the same kind of vocal quality, and that's all I have to say on the matter.
Wow.
I do want to speak to you about. I do want to speak to you about like collective identity, just because you were speaking about that in terms of like, I guess us telling our stories, and like that's where I took it. That's what I think of. Do you? Because there's something that's come Uproot. Has anyone seen like the tweets for that at the moment? Uproot. So that's like basically, it looks like black owned people from London being in control of the narrative that we tell.
Right.
And I don't know if it's just ends. I don't know because it's literally just come out as a tweet. But I'm interested to see. So do you think that we need like more? Do you think that we're in a place that we've got more people coming out where they're saying, okay, let's tell our collective story and not go to the so-called gatekeepers for that?
Are we coming out more? Are we being more vocal with expressing our collective stories? I think yes. Again, I can't speak for everyone who looks like me and is in my field or in any other art field, but I feel as though there's a sense of introspectiveness going on with a lot of people right now, and I think we kind of just go, okay, who am I as an individual? And naturally, when you question yourself or you question the things that you believe, you go, okay, there are certain things that I have in common with a number of people, and that naturally gives you the confidence to, I guess, want to share more about yourself. And I feel like that's what's going on right now. I feel like people feel connected more and more, and yeah, it's great because even how we started talking again, it was just okay, start talking about spoken word and all of this, and we're just like, oh wow, we're in we have a similar passion, and I guess that the topics that we want to discuss or explore in our fields are similar as well, so it feels as though we're doing it together, even though totally separate pieces of work, totally different styles or whatever, but it feels connected. So yeah, to answer your question, I feel like there is for lack of a better term, an uprising, and I love it.
Nice. Real quick before we go on to the next song, you spoke briefly about how like you feel that the perception of ends in popular media culture hasn't necessarily been like accurate, to say the least. Like, but of the things that you've seen, what would you say is the most, or for you was the most accurate depiction of ends?
Yes.
Oh, you got me on that one.
Mm.
All right, okay. Not necessarily a depiction of ends, but I would say, because it's the first thing that popped into mind, and every part of my body just telling me go here. It's The Untouchables. It's a French film, and again, totally different from. I mean, it's the hood, but totally different from my hood in a sense that the focus isn't there. No, that's not the point I was about to make. But the point is, the focus isn't on the ends itself; it's on the people who live there and how they react to that. If that makes sense. So I feel as though the popular thing to do now is just kind of like, okay, cool. This area hates this area, even though we understand these things occur, but it almost seems to end there. And it's like there is no exploration into the reasons why these characters choose to, I guess, venture down a path that we, the audience, see as, what the fuck are you doing? Sorry, I don't know if you can swear.
Oh yeah.
There you are.
All right, we can. Okay. Oh, we can't. Okay. But
No,
it's,
you can.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
So, can relax now. So it's for me, it's more than just ends. Like there are ends everywhere, and we need to know the people who live in these areas. And I feel like that's how you actually tell their stories. You go, these are the people that live here, and their circumstances doesn't necessarily define who they are as individuals. You know, the acts that they may engage in is just a behavior. It's okay, they act in this way. It's a symptom. That's not the problem. And then the problem, well, actually, I'm not, disclose the problem. I'm trying to make a lot of money out of that. But yeah, we know the reasons why people behave a certain way. We just know socially, this is just how things are. But we don't. Okay, I'm just tired of seeing hood movies and hood stuff. Really, I've been tired of it for a while, and I feel like we need more stories about individuals. And that's how we really find out the truth.
The way, like, I just want to feed off of that real quickly, is that in Top Boy, Little Sim's character,
Yeah.
I wanted to know her story more, because I was like, that's a witness. She's just witnessing what's going on happening around her, like, and she's taking care of a mother of, like, I just wanted to know more about that person. So I feel like going into that direction of like who's there, and it's not just hood. It's just like this is daily life for some of us. So I hear you.
Yeah. Right. The second song was Skanking Sweet by Chronix. For those of you who have watched episode 2 with Michael Ajel, you will recognize this song because he used it as well. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I want to say that this is your shower song.
I'm saying the same thing.
I'm saying the same thing.
Wow. Ugh. How can you guys reduce such a beautiful song to such? It's just a shower.
Picture,
It's a shower.
laugh yourself up. Slow down with yourself.
Wow.
Hey, ain't nobody got time to do all of that when you got to wake up at 6 a.m. No, so just in the shower.
These are their efficient things.
That's it. Ain't nobody got time for that. No, you're wrong. It's a song that sums up. No, it's a song that sums up my work.
Interesting.
Okay.
I am getting
Interesting.
so spun right now. I'm
know.
learning
This
so
is
much.
because I want to say I don't expect that, because I think you for me are someone that has like lots of different fingers and lots of different pies, and the art you produce is multifaceted in so many different ways. So I'm really interested to see where this one's going.
So something I've mentioned to Aruna before is how I like to, well, I guess, I like to separate myself from my work. If that makes sense. So I tend to look at myself as Lawrence, who writes, Lawrence, who acts, this and that. And it's for me, it's a healthy disassociation, if that's the word. Because it allows me to one, listen to constructive criticism well enough and not take it personally, because I don't feel as though that person is shaming me or being constructive about me per se. It's about my work. And again, it's easier said than done, because when you spend 8 hours of your day just on your computer and then someone tells you no, it's terrible, you're like, really? So I feel as though the fact that I'm able to just look at something and say, for example, acting, and go, I really enjoy acting. This is obviously, I have my own little story of to how I got there. We all have our stories. But this is something I really enjoy. And I feel like this is just another way we can communicate to other human beings of what it truly means to be human, or what I believe it truly means to be human, and the importance of connectiveness and the importance of just communication. So with the song, if you've seen a video, it's three different stories, and it's just so beautiful. And it's like these people have nothing in common, besides the fact that they're all human beings and whatever. It's just a feel good feeling. And despite the struggle that they all face, there's a feeling of, I guess, trust within themselves to kind of say, do you know what, this is the life I live, and this is how I'm gonna, I guess, get through it. Not necessarily deal with it, but just live with it and make the most of it. And I don't think I've answered your question, but how?
I feel like you have though. Like,
but yeah, no, yeah, it's something I like to look at as, you know, I want to try. I try different things, because I go, okay, cool. There's a lot I can share. I'm just trying to find the best way to share it. That's what I'm trying to say. Find the best way I feel will connect well with people, and that's it. Yeah.
Interesting. That's a really interesting take on it. Like,
Yeah.
I think the disassociation with your art is a very interesting practice, because I think that's something that I like actively try to avoid, because I find that when I disassociate, I don't know what that was. I'm going to start that again.
Yeah, it can't.
I was saying, I find the disassociation element of your work really interesting, because it's something that I actively try not to do. Because I find that when I disassociate, I tend to not care as much. But I suppose it can also have the exact same effect that you're talking about, which will enhance it. And I wonder, is that something that you like actively like, right, I'm going to start doing this and see if it works, or is it something you just kind of realize yourself doing and then assess that, I suppose?
There, I won't be able to answer that directly per se, because I don't know exactly when it all became a thing. I just realized, okay, the minute I'm done with my work, I'm done with my work. There's a thing of, I know the things that I write about and the things that I guess want to explore. They're very, I guess, in-depth topics, and they take a lot from me emotionally and mentally. And that's why, well, that's not why, but I like to have other things that I do. For example, just randomly going to the gym or tidying up my room or whatever it is. I like to have this thing where I go, once I've poured myself out to my work and I genuinely felt it, that no longer has control over how I feel. The next few steps, which are, I guess, the third and fourth and final draft, if you want to call it, they're very much more. They're much more. How do I structure this? More so, and it comes from a place of, okay, if I was an audience watching this or listening to this, how would I take this in? And I don't think that's me necessarily associating myself with my work. I just feel like, okay, this is, like I said, the first draft will be me pouring my heart out, and I'm like, oh, this is fun and messy. And it's just, as a curious person, it's just like, okay, cool. How do we, mess this around, and not mess this around, but how do we make this make sense? How do we, I guess, formulate our words to, how do I formulate my words to make sense of myself, really? Like, half of the stuff that I write, at times I'm like, I don't know how on earth I wrote that. Like, there'll be times when, no, literally most of the work that I've written, I'm just like, when and who, why, where did I get that inspiration? Like, like it was just, but it's something that I feel automatically. Like once I read it, I'm like, okay, I get where you're going with that, or I have different thoughts, and it naturally just leads me somewhere else. It's not given to me. Like I feel as though my work isn't something that I try to impose on other people. I feel it's just something I'm like, listen, I respect your intelligence enough to interpret it however you want to interpret it. And for me, that's how I just go. Like I said, with the first draft, get it all out, stress myself over it, pull my hair out. No, I want it to sound this way. No, I want it to sound this way. And then after all of that's done, I go, oh God, that was draining. I want to do something else now. It's a constant, it's an ongoing thing. I don't think that you can ever be certain in disassociating yourself. I struggle with that word from your work, but naturally, I feel you have to feel as though this isn't who you are. I don't identify with my work. I feel I can always get better and get better and get better and enjoy it more. And if I have fun reading my work, that's enough for me.
That's so good, man. That's so good. Yeah.
How does that like mentality apply when you're acting? Because I feel like with acting, it's a bit harder because your physical body is involved in the space and moving as the character and so on and so forth. And obviously as well, like a lot of people will use memories or experiences or feelings or emotions and then place them into the character as well. And like that can lead to a lot of people feeling like they're very, very connected to this being they've created in a way. So like how does that disassociation, oh my God, that is hard to say. How does that mindset how does that mindset work for you when you're acting?
How does that work for me when I'm acting? Again, I think when we did the 24-hour theatre challenge thing, I remember the character, one of the characters that I was playing. I think one of the directors mentioned about how like, you play this a bit too well. This creep. And I'm like, this is something. Not that I'm necessarily ashamed or proud to say, but I've done that. I know what it's like to make someone else feel comfortable. We all have. Some people just aware of it. Some people are aware of it and have accepted it. And I feel as though for me, I go, there are many areas in my life where I lack, and there are many things that I don't know, and there are certain things that I go, I know all too well, but isn't me. So with the acting, I always go into it like, oh, this is going to be fun. What have we got for me today? And then we read it and I go, okay, cool. What sort of emotion can I apply to this? Not necessarily, how does this character remind me of myself, or how does this character remind me of someone else? I go, this person's trying to make this person uncomfortable. I may never been in that exact same situation, but I know what it means to be uncomfortable. I mean, I work with kids. So like with acting, it's just I just like to go, what is the feeling? What is the feeling? And I try to bring myself back to that feeling. And again, like I said, once curtains are down, never touching that again. Sort of thing. You just be healthy and just keep moving forward, really.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's sick, man. Honestly, that's sick.
Thank you.
Right. The last song is Corday, Family Matters. And because you've spun me so much.
Featuring Aaron Ray. So
featuring
just
Aaron Ray, thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
you are correct. Featuring Aaron Ray. Because you've spun me so much, I genuinely don't know what this is.
That was my whole plan. Because I knew you guys would be looking at me like,
I'm gonna say this is a song that inspires you.
Okay.
I had a song that's helped you creatively.
That's a good one.
Arena?
I at least want to get one right because I can't.
Look, man, you're in my territory here. You can go 0 for free. Welcome to my life.
You know what? We accept it as it comes. It's fine. If it happens, it happens.
I'm saying it's your theme song.
Ooh.
Ben's right.
No,
Ah.
no. I only want to get one for this whole episode.
Well done.
Dubs only. Dubs only.
All right.
Alright.
If we
How
had
has
it,
this song inspired you or helped you creatively? Sorry.
Actually, it's his entire album. Amazing album.
Okay.
Like, Family Matters for me. Anyone who is spend enough time with me, anyone I discuss this with, is the most important thing is my family. As much as I want to strangle them, and as much as my mum can hear me say that, yes, I want to strangle you. There's a love, and I feel like we all have this feeling. There's a love and appreciation for the people that you've known the longest, and it's very hard for you to kind of to accept their flaws, because you at times go, you can be better, or you can be better, and that's I don't know if it's you projecting or whatever the situation is, whatever cause for you to feel that way, you feel that way, and it's a very strong, intense feeling where you're just like, just get it, just help me here, help me help you, so that you have that feeling. And when I listened to that song, I believe I was starting the blog and starting Meet Kev. And I was like, okay, I've never really felt shame about sharing my family's business. It's their fault, they it's not. I don't share my family business like that, but like I love to share the things that I've learned from my experience in general, and hearing that gave me that reassurance, gave me that strength, gave me that fire to kind of say, do you know what? Yeah, throw these fuckers under the bus. It's perfectly okay. As long as you make it look good or make it sound good.
Wow.
And of course, I'm messing around. It really did. It really did empower. No, but it really did empower me, because it allowed me to formulate my words, my thoughts rather. It allowed me to really accept that, okay, you are that person who, a lot of this burden is on. You are that person who has to, we've all seen it everywhere, break the generational curse. You are that person, and it's as much as you want to express to your family and intermediate friends, okay, this is really how I feel. At times you feel they don't really understand what's going on. They just kind of go, yeah, but you're doing this and you're doing that and you're getting paid for this, and I'm like, I'm depressed. Just help me. I'm depressed. Just right now in this moment, just talk to me. And yeah, Family Matters it was just that for me. And the fact that I'm really struggling to find my words right now just really reminds me of how much I really love that song, because it's just this is someone just being themselves and really just going, yeah. So that helps me creatively all the time. Every time I see someone else go, do you know, fuck it. This is what I believe in. This is me. There you go. I go, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna do this thing. That's it.
I wanna like go into like, because as writing as well for me, like you've heard some of my stuff. It's more about learning about who you are and the journey that you take on that. Like for me anyway, as a writer, and I also think that, like, in terms of playwrights as well, I think there's aspects of themselves that come out subconsciously in their work, and they learn about themselves within each character. I think I think that's prevalent and underlined there. Did would your would you say that your journey with writing has helped you understand yourself a lot better? And
Yeah, most definitely. And it's always funny to me, because I read my first book in 2017. I I started writing in 2017 when I had to adapt a short story into a play. For it was either university. It was either No, sorry, not 2017. Was it 2017? It was 2017. I hated uni that much. So the final year we had to, it was either dissertation, direct something, and adapt a short story. And I was like, which one's the easiest? And they're like, adapt.
Oh,
I
hold on,
doing
Lawrence.
it.
If you can still hear us, I think your internet's
This was
freaking out.
funny. Sorry, I can still hear you.
Cool.
My internet's
Give it
freaking
a
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give it 1 second. Hopefully it
gosh.
catches up. All right, we're back in.
Yes, more good. All right.
I don't know what
More
happened.
good.
We're back.
What were we talking about?
The
We were
last,
talking.
the last thing you said was, "What's the easiest to adapt in short stories?" That's the last thing you said. And then it went loopy.
Oh yeah. So the I asked, the my professor at the time was like, which one's the easiest? And he was like, it was a long conversation, but we ended up deciding to do I decided to do script writing. And so, me being me, never really gave a shit about education. Literally since I got here, I left it till the very last minute, as in it was like 9 hours before deadline. And bearing in mind, this is, I believe, so 60% of my final grade for that module. And my excuse is, I was going through a lot of shit. So I remember running to the, it was like a post box. I can't remember what it's called again, but that's where we handed in our like assignments and stuff. I remember just I missed the deadline, and they tend to close it at like 2 a.m. or something. Why am I telling all this story? Anyway, got there, handed it in. I got my results back. I was like, wow, I am surprised because I got a 2-1 for it, a high 2-1. And this was something that I managed to do in less than 9 hours. And I believe, I remember having a conversation. Whoever's doing Need for Speed outside someone's house, they need to stop. So
Yes, me.
sorry, I couldn't. It was too loud. So I remember I got the feedback, and I remember having a conversation with Stephen, my professor, and he was like, you have a good understanding for natural conversation. And I was like, okay, cool. I got 2-1. That's really all I care about. And I remember it wasn't until I graduated, came back, and I was like, oh, what am I actually going to do with this drama degree? Couldn't find anything. And I said, okay, cool, whatever. Didn't pay much attention, didn't really do much. And then I started writing like my first play, which I still haven't completed. And this isn't 2017, by the way. It's just started. I'm still working on it. And I realized the things that I was writing about, or the characters I was writing about, and the stories I was telling, was something that we talked about earlier on, about just the collective experience of being, I guess, a black person from N, or just being a black in any society.
Oh, has the internet gone again? So, off that point, talk to us about your writing and how that came about.
So sorry, I tried to pretend we didn't just have all of that. No. How did I get into writing? It was in university, so my final year. We had a choice of doing a dissertation. I can't remember the second option because I didn't want to do it. And the third option was to adapt a short play a short story into a short play, a 20-minute play. And that seemed to be the easiest one. So I decided, okay, do you know what? I'm going to go for that. And still, with the understanding that it was 60% of my final grade, I still kept it to last minute. And when I finally did it, I didn't actually adapt the short story. I just took the names, took, what was it? I took because what was the name of the play? I just remember it was set in a terrace house. So I took that idea, I took the names of the characters, and I just wrote my own stuff. And
nice.
Yeah, which you do. And I, handed it in late. And I remember getting the results back, looking through the feedback, and I was like, oh, first I got 2-1, which was I was very surprised about because that was the first time I'd written anything, and I was like, oh, that's good. I'm not fussed about this. And then we had the meeting, and I remember my lecturer just telling me about how you you're saying to me I have I have a good understanding for natural conversations. And I was like, I mean, at that point in time, it didn't really mean much to me, but I remembered that because the more I kept writing, the more I was able to, I guess, articulate my thoughts in my words and to really see myself reflected on paper and on screen. I was like, wow, okay, I get what Stephen meant by the natural conversations and all these things because there's a lot that I clearly want to talk about. And so from then I kind of just said, this is something that I enjoy. This is something that makes me feel good. And this is something that allows me, like I said, to articulate my thoughts. So I started writing, I guess I would say 2017, wasn't consistent with it until about probably start of this year. And I think that's when I started my blog. Well, that's when I returned to my blog and I started Meet Kev. And I was like, yeah, let's go with it. Let's enjoy it. And yeah.
Just for the people, then, do you want to talk about just quickly plug the blog and Meet Kev and what those are about?
Yes. So my blog is Itan, which is ITAN, Iyanu, IYANU .blog, which
Link in the
means
description.
which means Iyanu's story. So my Nigerian name is Iyanu. I was born and raised there. Spent 8 years of my life there, and then I was about to say I decided to come here as if I had a choice. My parents brought me here, and it was so with coming here, I soon realized that I'd have to adjust to obviously the new culture, and didn't get much help from family, but it was something that just naturally came about, and uh, so with the name, the reason why I chose the name of the blog was because there's a part of me that feels, well, I know there's a blur between who I am now and I guess the life that I lived in Nigeria for reasons that I try to explore in my writing. Um, Very personal things and very like trigger. Uh, I don't know what the word is, but anyway, so created the blog and I thought, let me just waffle. Let me just write and just see where this goes, essentially. And I started writing about myself, and slowly I was like, okay, I get an idea or sense of what I want to write about and how I want to write about it. So with the blog, Eterniyanu is essentially pieces that is a collection of writings that always come in fours. Essentially, four is like my lucky number. And I wrote an introduction, which was essentially the first piece was detailing my experience at the dentist. They all have like an underlying meaning to my writings. So first first one was experience at the dentist. Second one was written in a set in my workplace, the school, and written in a format of a script, but with obvious changes and rule breakings, which is something that I was like, okay, I'm aware of this. This isn't necessarily how you write a play, but I'm going to do it regardless. So I wrote it in that format. The third format was a letter to self, and then the fourth and final format was just essentially me pouring out my heart. I felt, and then from then I took a break, and then I returned with Meet Kev, which is an introduction to a whole big world that I'm going to create essentially. And again, it's following four different formats. There's 20, pieces of writing, and I'm on the final week. I'm very sad about that, but I'm on the final week of writing that. And oh my god, it's very, I don't know why I'm finding it hard to articulate my words here, but my blog is essentially an introspective view that I have, of the world essentially, and they're all explored, through so many different characters, and these characters will not only stay on my blog, that I have spoken word pieces that will, for example, my letters will naturally turn into spoken word pieces. The monologues, I'm working on something again. Don't want to disclose that yet, but I'm working on something to develop that into arena noise. The script, obviously, naturally, that's gonna turn into a play, and the haiku, that's just there. I just like the haiku, and I was like, oh, this is good. I'm gonna try that. So my blog is it's hard to explain, but it's fun to read.
That's
It's the worst plugging ever.
That's so
Worst plugging ever. But yeah, I blame the technical difficulties. It took me off
Yeah,
guard.
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Alright. So, as mad as all that is, we've still got one last song to discuss.
Oh, yeah, shit.
I know. But it's okay, because this is the song that we picked for our guests. The song that we chose for Lawrence to listen to was Have You Ever Heard a Love Song on Drill by ISO? So, Lawrence, what are your thoughts on this song?
I played funny enough, I heard it way before you guys said it, and I remember I was with a friend of mine in Southampton, and I think I'd heard it the day before, and I remember whilst we were going up there, whilst we got there, I remember playing it in the hotel, and I was like, hey yo, listen to this real quick. And I remember we were just I enjoy the song because I see it as a bold step taken by I don't know how old the guy is, but he looks fairly young, because we understand let me not say we understand what drill is, but we the most recent types of drills. I don't listen to drill, but the types of song you hear about drill, very I don't know what the word is, but violent, for lack of a better term. And now hearing this, I was like, is he singing on a drill beat? That was my first reaction. I was like, really? But I listened. I was like, okay, he's riding the beat, which I'm always a fan of it. Yeah, I'm like, as long as you have rhythm, I'm good with that. And the lyrics weren't to my taste, but it was a fun, catchy song. And yeah, I just remember going, okay, cool. After like a day or two, I'm probably never going to listen to this again, but I like him for doing that, and I hope he does more of that, really, because it's breaking the barriers, essentially. Okay, and yeah,
I feel like drill's one of the genres that's coming out with like the most genre experimentation at the moment. I don't know if that's just because it's more of a newer genre over here in the UK, and therefore people are like, oh, what can we do with it? And there's more of just a general consensus to be like, yeah, this is something we can try. Or if there's something about the genre, like fundamentally, technically, that allows it to be explored a lot more. But it's a really interesting time. Like, even you look at, we've discussed it before on the show, but Heady One's album with Fred again, and who was the other?
I love that album.
I really like it as well. I was so disappointed that it got slated.
We know why though. We know why, but
yeah, it was because people were fickle.
What were you gonna say? I can't remember what the other album was, but
there's another dude as well that's like experimenting a bunch of drill, but I can't remember his name for the life of me. I know I won't remember it. So shout out to you if you know who you are. But
Which how many people are going to start claiming it?
I want to say Blanco, but I don't necessarily know if it is Blanco.
Probably,
but
yeah.
I feel like Blanco is one of those people.
Yeah,
that's doing
it. Even like AJ Tracy and we all know Stormzy. But yeah, because have you heard their most recent track is Heady One?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is
yo.
I tell you what, Heady One does not take a break, does he? This guy is dropping tracks consistently.
Bro, his album comes out like next week or the week after.
Yeah, I know.
So
he only
by
dropped.
the time you don't see this, it's probably going to be out.
Yeah, he only dropped the EP a couple of months ago.
I feel like
he's dropping more tunes than Drake, bruv.
Didn't Music X Road come out? Music X Road come out this year? Was it this year?
Possibly. I think it might have been the start of this year. I'm gonna check.
I'm sure it was this year, like early this year. Boy.
Do you know what?
Oh yeah, man, consistency. We love it.
2019, end of 2019.
In 2019, okay.
Either way, that's still very consistent. Recent. 2 albums in a year. In the span of a year.
Aruna?
I think this track is a wavy track. Do you know what? I'm trying to convert my boy who hates R&B doesn't want to hear nothing of R&B, doesn't want to sing Usher Confessions. You know who you are. You know who you are. And I sent this song to him, and he was like 2 out of 10, and it broke my heart.
How can you be so anti R&B like that? That is such a stance.
It's fine. Listen, the people know that we just have to call up Dippo. Call up Dippo.
R&B warrior.
That's a harsh rating. 2 out of 10.
R&B roundtable.
Like, but what do you think about like drill being, all right, for lack of a better word, but softer? Because when you're talking, like, we know drill as straight killer music, and that's just like, it's brutal. Like, if we're looking at Chicago, that's the origins of it, right? They are journaling what's happened in their life and what they've seen, and that's what we're seeing here. So what do we think about like that turning into our R&B genre? Like,
for me personally, like, I feel like what you said was very interesting. The fact that you said it's these lot journaling what's happened and their personal experiences, which I feel like with drill kind of gave it the shtick it's gotten over the past couple of years. You know what I mean? It's the fact that like people are saying stuff that they've seen and been through and potentially done, but at the same time, it's like they're not. Some of them, anyway, aren't necessarily in those circles anymore, and if they are, they're not really on doing anything at all anymore. And it's more about the artistry of it, and I feel like that's why for me it's really exciting when you get like Heady One and Fred Again tracks, iSong tracks, Blanco tracks. I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name. But those kind of tracks where you're experimenting with the sound of it, because it's like I'm taking my experience of it, and you don't understand the format of it, but I can still spin it because at the end of the day I'm an artist now, and that's what my calling is. Do you know what I mean? Because if I really wanted to tell you about drillings, I could do it in person without being on badness. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I feel like, and I also think it's really important that, because like, remember there was a point a couple of years back where the government were actively trying to ban drill. Like, actively trying to ban it. And it wasn't until Russ came out of Gun Lean that everyone was like, oh shit, okay, if I spin it, I can get away with it. Do you see what I'm saying? And I feel like that was ironically the best thing to happen to drill. Because if that didn't happen, I feel like we would have been artistically anyway stuck in a different time period with it. It would still be very much like the old school Chief Keef style drill. You know what I mean? So I think it's good. I think it's good, personally.
Right. What do you think about the track though? Because you picked it, Kyle.
I picked it.
Lawrence.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I like I said, it was a good track. I don't follow drill that well to I guess have more to say about it. Besides, I feel it's just an artist saying, you know what, I like this beat, I want to sing over it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is as simple. No, but sometimes it is that simple. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, I can do something with this and like change it up. I mean, that's what art is about. Like we see people bend it and change it, and that's what it is.
I know the rules. If you learn the rules, you can break them.
That's it.
That's it.
So.
That's it. I feel like that's why I picked this song as well for this episode, is because like after you sent me all of your songs and stuff through, like, and listening to them, and just knowing you as a person, I felt like that song reminded me of you because you're someone that likes to bend and break rules. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, sorry.
I was
about to say that loves to sing love songs. No, I'm not.
No, but it's just the way that, like the genre bending nature of it just reminded me of you, in the sense that like you're someone that likes to mess about and play around with stuff and feel confident enough to do so and bold enough to do so. So yeah.
Thank you. But not bold enough to express my blog in simple terms.
That's fine, because you plugged it magnificently and the people will see it.
Oh shit.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on, my guy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me, man.
You can catch Lawrence on our post show, The Wheel Up, which is after this. Currently, it's free. It might not be free. When you see it, we'll find out. In season 2, you're probably going to have to pay for it. Currently, it's free. So if you're watching it and it's free,
big ups to you.
Pay for it. Now, if you're watching it when you pay for it, big ups to you. If you're watching it when it's free, this shit's not free, so can you help us, please? But yeah, big up Lawrence every time, my guy.
Of course.
That's my sales pitch.
As you can see, it's going swimmily for us.
You like the money, pay.
Just need cash.
I like it. It works.
I'm dead.
It works.
Yeah, big ups to you.
Where can the people find you? We've not done that.
Oh yeah, real quick.
Oh crap. Sorry. Once I'll have to. I don't know my act.
Your Insta,
Too many handles.
It says
I underscore. It's 2 underscores though, I believe.
Oh yeah, 2
Yeah,
underscores.
I'm
Yeah,
that
one of
difficult
those
guy.
people.
I changed it recently. Like I've had my old account for like years. I'm saying like 8 years. And I was like, do you know, I'm tired of this name. I want to change it. And it was relating to my blog. And I just thought, you know what? _ITAN. Ask me what that means. Not a clue. But yeah.
There you have it, folks.
I'm joking. But yeah, so that's it. And that's the only place you can find me. And actually, no, sorry, my writing Insta page is ETUNIYANU. So just the spelling on my blog, but with an E at the start instead of an I.
Amazing. Links will be in the description. Yeah.
Wavy.
Thank you very much.
Check out there. We out.
I can't change my energy, can't fake it. When I'm with you, I feel I can fly. And if this goes and we fall into stasis, not rugby, you won't tackle my pride. Fat pride, what pride, what pride, what pride.